Imagine this. You wake up one morning and the headlines scream that the U.S. government, led by Donald Trump, is on a mission to stockpile as much Bitcoin as they can. Did you see the headlines now? Breaking news. Trump races to secure Bitcoin reserves to save America. This is what a lot of people think is going on right now. And whether that's true or not, it's too early to tell. But one thing is for sure, that the United States government needs Bitcoin to succeed, or else this debt Ponzi scheme comes to an end. Let's talk about that one. All right, so I want to take a quick minute to share some thoughts in reference to the Bitcoin euphoria and how Bitcoin, in my opinion, is being strategically placed as an escape valve as well as a liquidity draw in order to help put America back in a position of favor with the world and help this upcoming administration oversee the greatest monetary reset in history. So as always, if you guys want to see more of these little short, quick takes, make sure you subscribe, hit that button right now so you'll never miss an episode. And then also drop a comment and share your thoughts on this subject matter, because that's how the community is able to learn as well as take advantage of opportunities as they present themselves. But one thing is true. Suddenly, the digital currency you thought was a niche investment is being mentioned by a lot in the investment world as becoming a major part of national security. And at one point, it sounded far-fetched, but not anymore. As of this recording, Bitcoin is at an all-time new high of $76,000 and climbing. And based on the next couple of weeks, I expect to hear a lot more news and excitement around this particular asset class right here. And so it's not as wild as it might seem that President Trump needs Bitcoin at this current moment in order to realize some of those bold and audacious plans that he put in place as far as the taxes and as well as turning our country around to make America great again. So we're talking about an unexpected shift in policy, what some might consider a new arms race and a finite resource that could set off a global scramble. So the question is, why Trump's 180-degree turn on Bitcoin? For starters, I can give you 36 trillion reasons why the hole that the United States government is in needs as many distractions as well as diversion tactics as they can. And I say that because, as I mentioned earlier, it's my opinion that Bitcoin has been strategically placed in this current monetary reset for the purpose of drawing attention away from our national debt, because the price of a Bitcoin is denominated in the very same currency that's imploding right now. And so what better way to get people on board with the idea of this transition other than to have them siphon their life savings, retirement funds, and their investment portfolio into this new asset class that's getting all the momentum as well as the attention. And one of the many reasons to position Bitcoin as a go-to asset is because of the amount of currency as far as physical paper cash that's been created to this point as a part of Trump's strategic plans to bring it back into the system via Bitcoin. So as you can see on this chart right here, this is a U.S. currency in circulation and estimated amount abroad. So from the very top bar here, as of the end of last year, you have $2.2 trillion of physical Federal Reserve notes in circulation. And then as I zoom in here, you see the approximate amount abroad is about 564 billion, which makes up 25% of current cash in circulation. So that's one way of helping rein in the U.S. government's crazy monetary base expansion when it comes to physical cash, is by incentivizing other nations as well as holders of those currencies to put it into something that the U.S. is using as a tool to benefit the dollar. And so next I want to talk about Trump's turnaround. And it wasn't to the latter point of his candidacy that he becomes somewhat of a Bitcoin president, because during his first term, he called it a scam and warned people against using it. But now that's completely different. And what he showed us at the Bitcoin conference with the idea of creating a strategic national crypto stockpile and, quote, never selling your Bitcoin, lets us know that this was a part of the plan well before now. And as of right now, with the betting markets on Polymarket, people are placing bets. And as of right now, there's a 27% chance that people believe that this actual national Bitcoin reserve will actually come to fruition by April 29th, 2025. So all that being said, it's becoming more obvious that because the people are in favor of Bitcoin, the government has to acknowledge and recognize the fact that Bitcoin is something that they should use for their own advantage as well. And now that Congress has the House and the Senate, you can believe that there's going to be more bipartisanship on how to bring this strategic Bitcoin reserve into reality. And with people like Senator Loomis spearheading his efforts, it's good to say that more people are going to start paying attention to her Bitcoin Act that she's put out there as potential legislation that could lead the charge. And so that begs the question, what exactly is the Bitcoin Act? The Bitcoin Act is labeled as the Boosting Innovation and Technology and Competitiveness Through Optimized Investment Nationwide Act. That's definitely a mouthful, but basically it would direct the U.S. Treasury to purchase 1 million Bitcoin over a 5-year period, which would amount to the national government acquiring 200,000 Bitcoin per year. So the question is, where exactly would our currency come from? And it's my suspicion, it'll be the foreign currency that comes in to our country, inflating prices and asset valuations, and also more deficit spending by our government to use newly created currency through borrowing to then go out and buy this so-called Bitcoin. And so no matter what, our government alone will be the primary drivers that takes the Bitcoin price astronomical in the days ahead. And that's not to mention any other governments that might do the same thing. And so if this plan goes through, it's more than just a headline. It's a game changer. And here's why. Bitcoin supply is capped at 21 million, and most of it is already in circulation or lost. So this finite nature makes Bitcoin very different from traditional currencies. which governments can print as well. And so the point is, why does all this matter? If the US starts aggressively buying Bitcoin, other countries won't sit by and watch. They'll want their place at the table as well, potentially kicking off a digital version of a space race where more nations decide to acquire Bitcoin by either getting rid of their dollars or more of their currency in order to buy some Bitcoin as well. And so it's in every government's best interest that if they want to compete in this coin's arms race, is to stack as many sats as they can between now and the time this monetary reset is in full blow. And so that means that with the limited supply and high demand, the price has to go up. So we might see a situation where the world's wealthiest nations battle for who holds the most Bitcoin. And that's the kind of scenario that could send prices soaring and reshape the financial power structure altogether. And one thing I think people are not really paying attention to is the scarcity side of things. When it comes to BTC specifically, it's the scarcity that intrigues both the retail investor as well as the institutional investor. And so if you're a seasoned crypto investor, the concept of Bitcoin scarcity might be common knowledge to you, but the average Joe and Jane who don't realize the issues that they're facing with their national currencies have yet to realize the fact that Bitcoin could be that tool to help them absorb some of this that's coming in the days ahead. And that liquidity can help them prolong as well as preserve some purchasing power and allow them to acquire real world goods before inflation really takes off. A supply crunch is coming. And here's some pros versus cons as to why that's important. Pros is obvious. There's going to be a massive price increase in the days ahead because of the scarce nature of Bitcoin, which will then in turn lead to market scarcity, where the market now scrambles to get hold of Bitcoins at whatever price. And then the cons for the average person will be the affordability issue. The securing one Bitcoin will be a problem. So therefore, having any exposure down to 0.0001 puts you in better position than having zero. And because it's a volatile asset, there will be market instability because of the underlying forces of Bitcoin trading 24/7 globally. And then that leads to a limited production from the miners because more mining operations will come online, therefore making it very scarce for the miners to be able to retain their Bitcoin in reserves. So they'll be racing to grab some as well. And then that ultimately, as you see here, leads to ultimate increased competition, where you're going to have the financial world, governments, retail, and the legacy TradFi system all scrambling to try to secure some Bitcoin. So why does all this matter? It was simple. It's a chance to be ahead of the seismic financial shift that's taking place right now. So think of it as this moment when oil was discovered or when tech stocks were their infancy phase. The US government moving towards Bitcoin could set off a chain reaction with lasting impacts on the global economics. So if you're an investor already, good job. Just having mere exposure to this asset class could do wonders if everything I mentioned in this video comes to fruition. And if you're not an investor, then in my personal opinion, it might be worth your while percent of Bitcoin, which at this current amount today is just $76, give or take some change. So for less than $100, you can get exposure to this asset class that the governments as well as retail and everybody and their mother are going to be racing to. And if Bitcoin goes to $1 million, you'll be in a much better position having done that than not. But anyway, just taking a minute to share some thoughts. Curious to hear what you guys think. If you found value, as always, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe, join the community, and share your thoughts below so we can get some dialogue back and forth. And other than that, look forward to reading your comments. I'll catch you guys later.